The number 9 moment in the 1985 Buffalo Bills history is their second and last victory of the season over the Houston Oilers. On November 10th, 1985, 1 p.m. kickoff, Hugh Campbell led the 4-5 Houston Oilers into Rich Stadium to take on Hank Bullis 1-8 Buffalo Bills. The Bills would go on to win 20-0, and looking at the newspaper write-up, quarterback Bruce Matheson, making his first regular season start of his 3-year NFL career, completed 11 of 22 passes for 121 yards and ran for 57 yards, including a touchdown, to lead Buffalo 2-8 now to a victory. 1985 considered a bad season by most standards. As they would finish 2-14, had very few highlights, but this is the 9th as voted on by the members of the Buffalo Bills History Club on Facebook. Scoring, Scott Norwood hit a 24-yard field goal in the first quarter to give the Bills a 3-0 lead. Then Greg Bell ran it in from 2 yards out, and Scott Norwood's extra point was good. The Bills led 10-0. It would be your score after one and at the half. In the third quarter, Scott Norwood hit a 23-yard field goal to put the Bills up 13-0. And then Bruce Matheson ran it in from 5 yards out to give Scott Norwood the attempt at the extra point, and the Bills led 20-0. The game was played outdoors on AstroTurf. It was 45 degrees. The Oilers were favored by 2.5. They did not cover. Statistically speaking, for the Houston Oilers, Warren Moon threw for 22 yards, and he was intercepted 3 times, while Oliver Luck, Andrew Luck's father, threw for 18 yards, and he was sacked once. Larry Moriarty led the Oilers in rushing with 49 on the ground, while Butch Wolfork had 13 yards receiving to pace the Oilers. Bruce Matheson threw for 121 yards, and he was sacked 7 times. The punter John Kidd was sacked 1 time. Matheson ran for 57 yards and a touchdown, and Andre Reed, the rookie, had 64 yards receiving to lead the Bills. On defense for the Oilers, Ray Childress had 2 sacks. Robert Abraham, Keith Bostic, Steve Brown, Frank Bush, Brian Socha, and Mike Stensrud each had a sack. For the Bills, Martin Bayless had an interception for 10 yards. Derek Burrows had an interception for 7 yards. Charles Romes had an interception. And Sean McNaney had a sack. Returning kicks and punts for the Oilers, Jeff Donaldson had 75 yards on 4 kick returns and 2 yards on 3 punt returns. For the Bills, Anthony Steeles had 22 yards on 1 kick return, and Don Wilson had 9 yards on 1 punt return. The Bills get to 2-8, the number 9 moment in the 1985 season.